Coming up on Valley News Now, we have updates from the missing 73-year-old man in Wahpeton that was issued a silver alert. But that's not it. We also have an update on the Spirit Lake Reservation as Eric Hunt has taken a plea deal. We'll let you know everything we know on that topic. Then we're going to cover Wolf Lake as their sheriff is retiring after a long tenure, but there is still a case he's wanting to solve. Valley News Now is live. Hello everyone and welcome to Valley News Now at 11. Happy Friday, by the way. Duke Schindler joining you here on this Friday late morning, and we got a lot to get through here on this Friday. We're starting off with the weather. Now it's going to be, or planned to be, pretty beautiful out there pretty much all day. But there is a first alert weather day coming up on Sunday, and some really volatile type weather coming up the very next week. So for everything we need to know, let's send things over to our meteorologist, Lisa Green.
Hello and happy Friday. We are tracking sunshine today and warming temperatures too. Now there are some areas in the northeast where we have some more clouds and the possibility for a light shower this afternoon up in the Lake of the Woods area, but most of us experiencing mostly sunny skies. Temperatures getting into the 40s to some low 50s with light wind. A pleasant spring day. Heading into tonight looks really nice for any Friday evening plans you have. Temperatures eventually though dipping into the 30s by late tonight. And then this weekend we're watching out for more active weather developing. We're going to heat up on Sunday in the Southern Valley especially. Northern Valley are going to watch a boundary move overhead, and that could be the triggering point for this. Thunderstorm activity. The possibility is there that we may see our first round of thunderstorms for this season, which is why we're first alerting you to it. Some downpours, some gusts possible, and as we know, lightning always a risk and something we need to take seriously when we have thunderstorms. But you can see really rising in the Southern Valley for Sunday.
Thank you very much for that, Lisa. Now for an extended look at your forecast, we'll go through our VNL website. 36 degrees outside. How about that? It's April 10th, by the way. It should be a little warmer at this point if you ask me, but 36 right now, that's just as good as we've gotten all week. Winds finally calming down a little bit here at 7 miles an hour. That's without wind gusts. And as we move on throughout the day, you see we're peaking at around 50 degrees, maybe a little more, 52 with those 7-mile-an-hour winds and sunny all day. So if you got a chance, maybe take a walk. Why not, right? Get that vitamin D early in the season, or as early as we can get it, I should say. Clear throughout the rest of the night, getting down to about 35 degrees, then heading into Saturday. Cloudy, windy, those winds, as you can see, they turn up a little bit, I should say, at 20 miles an hour, and they stay around pretty much throughout the entire day. Then we move on to Sunday, where we, like you mentioned, or I should say Lisa Green mentioned, there is chance for scattered thunderstorms. You see that right there. Somewhere around the 20% range heading into the morning on Sunday, but I'm sure it'll be pretty scattered. Now let's take a gander at the 10-day outlook. 52 today, 53 tomorrow, and 71. Ooh, we've been waiting for that for a while here. Now there is a 40% chance of precipitation. That is in the Fargo area, of course. So other areas, Pembina County, down south, they could see something completely different than what's going to be happening here in Fargo. Make sure you're watching out for that. And then moving on throughout the rest of the week, our meteorologist said, well, there's almost a chance for scattered rain almost every day next week. So you see it right there, 20% chance Monday and Tuesday, 30 Wednesday, 20 on Thursday, then 50 on Friday. So a lot of moisture making its way through the area here, but we got some headlines to get to. Starting it off with the search for a missing 73-year-old Wahpeton man, with volunteers back out in the Valley City area. Now, family and community members have now launched a second organized search for Al Odin, 1 week after he was last seen driving a teal pickup with a red topper at the Casey's gas station in Valley City. Now, his son created new search maps, expanding the effort into rural areas around Eccleston, Mansfield, and Meadow Lake Township. Family says 2 civilian planes are also flying over the area looking for any sign of Odin or his truck. They're still asking anyone with information to call the Wahpeton Police Department. The number 701-642-7777. And a Spirit Lake man accused of holding a woman in a basement and severely beating her has reached a plea deal with federal prosecutors. I'll get that pulled up here. Court records say 28-year-old Eric Herbert Hunt of Fort Totten has agreed to plead to one count of assault resulting in serious bodily injury for a 2025 attack on a woman on the Spirit Lake Reservation. Now, under the plea deal, prosecutors will recommend a sentence within federal guidelines and won't file additional charges. Hunt still faces up to 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. A judge must still accept the agreement. Then, after 38 years in law enforcement, Becker County Sheriff Todd Glander is ready to retire and getting ready on top of that, but says some of the county's coldest cases still weigh on him to this day. Now, that one that's really stuck out with him is the 1976 Wolf Lake fire, where 8-year-old Brian Russness was found dead in the rubble, but his parents, Bernard Russness and Peggy McKay, were never found, despite their cash and vehicle being left behind. Another is the 2014 disappearance of Melissa Eagleshield, who vanished near Island Lake.
People are still looking for answers, and if I could provide something for them, I would be very happy.
Now, Glander plans to hang up his badge in January after one more busy summer in WeFest, hoping someday someone can give those families the closure he's spent on the career chasing. All right, and then we'll kind of wrap it up here as Artemis II astronauts. They are hurtling back towards Earth today, with landing predicted to take place around 7:07 p.m. Central Time. Now, the historic loop around the moon has many wondering, what does it truly take to complete this mission, and even more, what it's like in space. Valley News Live's Sayla Jakeway joins us from Minnesota State University Moorhead with more space-tacular information. Sayla, what do you have for us?
That's right. That historic mission is finally hurtling back to Earth, and that's exactly what me and Sarah Schultz, the director of the MSUM Planetarium, is getting ready to do. We had a chance to shoot our way up to the stars and go to the moon, but now it's time to see our journey back. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Are you?
Let's do it.
All right.
Now, as she takes us through this journey back, I think it's so important to know how this moon even formed in the first place. Can you share with me these details?
So the Earth and the moon formed at the same time. We believe there was a large collision with the Earth at some point that created the moon. And so the moon is really just a chunk of the Earth.
Wow, now we got a chance to see some really cool craters. Tell me about these craters and how they were able to hit the moon.
So the craters were formed by chunks that were left over from the formation of the solar system. And so these large chunks of rock just hit the moon. And the thing is that since the moon doesn't have any kind of an atmosphere, those chunks don't burn up in the atmosphere like they mostly do for the Earth. And so we're seeing really the history of all of the collisions that the moon has encountered since it was formed.
Wow. Now, when it comes to the age of the moon, I was told that it's about similar to Earth.
Right, because they formed about the same time. So they're pretty much the same age.
Now, when it comes to having a mission up into space, what type of preparation is needed for that?
Well, there's a lot of training that you need in order to be able to handle those types of that kind of environment. And there's a lot of tests that need to be done in order to make sure that the technology is going to work.
Very true. Well, Miss Sarah Schultz, it was a pleasure speaking with you today. For those out there watching, we have finally descended our way to Earth, and you can see this beautiful planet right here. And in just a few hours, our astronauts from the Artemis II mission are getting ready to do the same thing. It was a pleasure sharing with you all our journey to space this morning, and I hope you all have a great rest of your Friday.
Thank you very much for that, Sayla. Now, I didn't even know that the moon is actually part of the Earth. That has me kind of wondering. Now, the Artemis 2 mission set a historic record for the furthest distance, of course, humans have ever traveled from Earth, passing the record set by Apollo 13 in 1970. Long time ago, as we take a look at some road conditions and wrap up the stream here. As you can see, Minnesota looking just fine. Seasonal good road conditions, nothing that really sticks out here. We could take a look at maybe a snowplow cam just north of Grand Forks on the Minnesota side of things, but well, they don't have much work to do here, so we'll keep on moving through the North Dakota side. And for the second straight day in a row, might be a new record, we got all green. Nothing to complain about there. Taking a look at some road cameras, we'll start in Wahpeton, where they don't have the image available. So we'll start in South Fargo near 64th Avenue South, looking just fine. Get a little more north and, yeah, clear roads. That's what's going to be fun. I can't wait to drive on those again, despite probably a lot of road construction happening at some point this summer. Anyways, north of Fargo on I-29, looking just fine. Into Grand Forks itself, not too shabby. Beautiful. In fact, north of Grafton, a lot of the same, even our northern friends. My favorite picture and DOT camera. Take a look. It's looking great up there in Cavalier. Back down to Devil's Lake. Need a splash of rain. Get that grass back to green coming up here. Should be expecting some sort of showers come Sunday, and maybe even Devil's Lake gets a couple rounds throughout the week next week. Down there in Glenfield, just fine as well at North Dakota 200. Into Jamestown, a lot of the same. Still some snow sticking around there, and Valley City, of course, little pockets of snow, but nothing on the roads. Now it's just looking pretty good from here on out. So thank you guys very much for joining us here on the stream and Valley News Now. Now, if you got your smartphone or mobile device, make sure you got the VNL app downloaded on that, as well as the smart TV behind me. Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. I'm getting good at this now. Also, make sure you tune in to Sports Overtime at 1 o'clock. We're going to be talking everything from UND hockey, the Minnesota Wild having a wild game last night against the Stars. We've been talking about that, how important that game is. And then we'll touch on the Twins. How about the Twins? They're surprising me a little bit here, but once again, thank you very much for joining us here on the stream. For Duke Schindler, we'll catch you later.